While India and China are still engaged in a standoff, India sends its naval forces to the South China Sea to challenge China in the seas. Amid China's assertive behaviour in the South China Sea, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Sigh has said that Indian Navy's INS Kiltan's warship have been sent to visit and contribute to security and stability in the region. INS Kiltan, an indigenously built anti-submarine warfare stealth corvette, has arrived in Nha Trang port of Con Chi City of Vietnam on December 24th to deliver 15 tons of relief materials to the flood-affected peoples of central Vietnam. The relief has been provided under India's mission Sagar, reiterating New Delhi's position as the dependable partner and the Indian Navy as a preferred security partner and the first responder, the Defence Minister said in a statement. The development comes few days after the virtual summit between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his counterpart Nguyen Xuan Phuc. Both sides had called for the enhanced security cooperation for the stability in the Indo-Pacific region. From defense to the petrochemicals, 7 agreements were signed between the two countries. India handed over one of the 12 high-speed guard boats that was supposed to deliver under $100 million defense line of credit to Vietnam. The boats are reportedly meant for the Vietnam border guard to enhance the coastal security against China. Vietnam has a 1,650 km coast facing the South China Sea and 1,300 km land border with China. With China laying complete claim to the South China Sea, the two communist countries are locked in a conflict for nearly 50 years. India, which is also locked in a border standoff with China in the Himalayas, has extended support to Vietnam to secure its Indo-Pacific region. Beijing sees this as an alignment as an offshoot of New Delhi's cooperation with Washington on its offensive against China. Vietnam has $500 million line of credit for defense purchases from India. New Delhi has for long been exploring options to sell its Indo-Russian missiles, the BrahMos, to the Asian countries. Even after the agreements to boost defense cooperation and strategic partnership, nothing concrete has been achieved in terms of supply of BrahMos missile to the Vietnam. The Asian nations, including Vietnam, had approached New Delhi seeking the Ramjet medium-range cruise missile that can be launched from submarine ships, fighter jets, or in land missile systems. Experts believe that the sales of the supersonic cruise missile, which can carry up to 300 kilograms of conventional and nuclear warheads, which act as a deterrent against China's aggressive posture. A report in the Asia Times suggests that India and Russia are working to extend BrahMos missile range from 650 km to 800 km with a vision of an eventual range of 1,500 km. With this, China's 6 cities, which also includes the industrial cities Shenzhen and Wuhan, which would come with 1,500 km range of any land base in Vietnam. In 2018, Hanoi had granted exclusive access to Indian Navy ships to use Harang Port, which is a stone thrown from the Cam Ranh Bay port, a deep-sea inlet shelter in southern Vietnam. The Cam Ranh is one of the best deep-water ports in the entire Indo-Pacific region, conducive of docking submarines as well as huge aircraft carrier and other naval assets and vessels. So what do you think of India challenging China in the South China Sea by sending its Navy force to Vietnam and to the region of South China Sea? Indian Army has chased away the Chinese army from the Ladakh on Saturday of August 31st. China is rapidly building a heliport near the India-China-Bhutan tri-junction border. Chinese troops carried out a provocative military movement near the Pangong-Tso Lake on Ladakh in India on Saturday night, but were blocked by the Indian soldiers who are fully prepared, said the Indian government on Monday. According to the NDTV source of India, said that the Chinese troops came in sufficient numbers but the Indian Army was aware of the Chinese move and established themselves in the move to block the Chinese advances. So physical clashes took place and there is no face-off situations at present, said the source. It is said that Indian troops pre-attempted the PLA activity on the southern bank of Pangong-Tso Lake, undertook measures to strengthen the position and thwart the Chinese intentions to unilaterally change the facts on the ground, adding that the Indian Army is committed to maintaining the peace and the tranquility through the dialogue, but it also equally determined to protect its territorial integrity. The move provoked a standoff and the rapid build-up. The troops from both the sides yelled at each other, surged within yards or two before the commanding officers from both sides pulled them apart. Also, China is rapidly building a heliport near the India-China-Bhutan border tri-junction, which is very much nearer to the Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim of India. After the night of 30th August, Chinese Air Force redeployed the J-20 5th generation fighter aircrafts near the Ladakh region, according to the Indian government sources. The J-20, the sleek 5th generation jet, has been redeployed by the PLAAF or the Chinese Air Force at the Houghton Air Base, and they have been flying close to the Indian territory near the Ladakh and the adjoining areas. The deployment of the strategic bomber aircraft is also still on by the Chinese, said the Indian source. As India is rapidly using its Rafale jets near the India-China border, now China has redeployed its first generation J-20 jets few weeks before itself. The Indian government has said China tried to change the status quo in the Ladakh and India-China border region. The Indian Army have chased away the Chinese. Now China has insisted that the troops has to be moved out of the heights which India has occupied. Indian Army has refused to move out. The Indian and the China issue and the standoff has escalated into a very serious standoff tensions. So on the other side, India, Japan and Australia have agreed to join hands against China's imports and exports by trading more between the India, Japan and Australia. So what do you think of the new escalations between India and China, the border region, which can trigger the new frontal war between India and China, and the trade between three countries to counter China?